Welcome, everyone, to the Monday edition of Fair Territory. I know I say this every week. You guys probably get tired of hearing me say it, but we've got a lot to talk about. There is a lot going on in the game right now. I'm going to hit some things off the top just real quick. Tarek Skubal last night, Sunday Night Baseball, 13 strikeouts, just brilliant. James Wood, the Nationals, 4 intentional walks. The first player since Barry Bonds in 2004 to draw 4 intentional walks in a game. And the Miami Marlins, my goodness, they've won 7 straight. They swept a road trip in San Francisco and Arizona. They finished June with a winning record. Good for the Marlins. But I've got some other things that I want to dive a little bit more deeply into. The last 2 weekends for Fox, I've seen the 2 NL East powers, the Mets and the Phillies. The Phillies both weekends, the Mets a Saturday ago. I got to tell you, folks, not that impressed. And I'll go with each team and I'll tell you why I'm not that impressed with either as we go along here. Let's start with the Mets. Swept by the Pirates this weekend. The lowly Pirates outscored 30-4. Hard to do. 9 straight runs, or 9 or more runs in each of those 3 games they allowed. 30-4, they're outscored. And they didn't face Paul Skeens in this series. Also, they had a team meeting Saturday, and then the next day lost 12-1. That's not what team meetings are supposed to produce. So we heard from the Mets owner, Steve Cohen, on X this morning, and he had some things to say. And let's look at what Steve Cohen said. Tough stretch, no sugarcoating it. I didn't see this coming. I'm as frustrated as everybody else. We will get through this period, and I'm sure that they will. Our injured pitching will come back over the next few weeks. It is unlikely the team's hitting with runners in scoring position will continue at this weak pace. Keep the faith. Well, that's a good message from Cohen. That's the right tone he should be establishing as owner. The Mets, though, are 3-13 in their last 16 games. Guys like me, reporters like me, men and women, were praising the Mets pitching just, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Since then, they've lost Senga to the IL, McGill to the IL, Canning to the IL, Minaya remains on the IL. Montas came back. Good first start, not so good yesterday, and he is lined up to pitch against the Yankees in the Subway Series in this coming weekend. So the Mets have some serious problems, and it's not just the injuries to the starting rotation. Their bullpen has sort of fallen apart too. In the month of June, they ranked 28th in bullpen ERA, and offensively, they're too top-heavy. They've had some situations with different positions this year that have not gone that well. Right now, they're getting below average production, second base, third base, catcher, and center field. So there's not all that much that they can do right now before the deadline, but there is probably a lot that they can do at the deadline. Okay, that's the Mets. Now the Phillies took 2 or 3 this weekend against Atlanta. And by the way, Atlanta, with these 2 teams, the Mets and Phillies, in the state that they're in, should be all the more embarrassed for the season that they're having. But the Phillies have, again, the NL East lead. That's fine. They won 2 or 3 from Atlanta. Very good. But there are some issues there too. Now, Bryce Harper might come back tonight, and that would solve some of their offensive issues for sure. They've got an amazing rotation, second in the majors in ERA. Their bullpen is a bit of a mess, and Jason Stark wrote about this last week in The Athletic after interviewing Dave Dombrowski. Dombrowski has said, we're going to get Alvarado back in August for the regular season. He was their best reliever, but he's ineligible for the postseason after testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug. He also plans, Dombrowski does, to eventually move a starter or 2 to the bullpen. They've already done that with Taijuan Walker. But that's not the only issue with the Phillies, the bullpen. The offense, too, it just doesn't seem to be at the level that it should be considering the names in that lineup. The Phillies rank 11th in the league in runs per game, 11th in the majors. That's okay, but they should be better. And they're a team that isn't getting what they would want to get from a number of different players. I would say that Bohm is one. He was hot for a while, not so much lately. Stott is another. Just up and down the lineup. Schwarber's been great, obviously. Turner's had a remarkable season so far, but they're not clicking the way they should. Now, maybe the return of Harper helps that. Maybe they bring up Justin Crawford, their top prospect at some point, to maybe address left field. But they've got some work to do at the deadline as well. So the NL East, it's going to be a race. it's maybe not going to be as great a race or as dynamic a race as we would have thought with both these teams. I wouldn't say the Phillies are reeling right now, but both these teams have not quite played to the capability that we all expected. The Mets did early. They're struggling right now. The Phillies have had their moments, and certainly they face good pitching this week in Houston and Atlanta, but I do want to see more from their offense. All right, now as we move on, speaking of Houston, the Houston Astros, we don't talk about this team enough. The Houston Astros just won 2 of 3 from the Chicago Cubs in the Kyle Tucker, Ryan Presley homecoming series. It's an amazing series in a lot of ways. Cam Smith, the Astros' big acquisition in the Tucker trade, had a big series as well. But what's amazing about Houston is they're playing and have played since May 5th without Yordan Alvarez. It's almost 2 months now without Alvarez. They've got a number of starting pitchers on the IL right now. Blanco, Arrighetti, Christian Javier, Hayden Wesneski, Luis Garcia. It's an entire rotation. And yet, here they are, the month of June, 19-7, best record in the majors. It's a testament to what they do, a testament to their culture, a testament to the manager, Joe Espada, the general manager, Dana Brown. They're going to be looking for a left-handed hitter at the deadline. They'll get Alvarez back, hopefully soon, maybe even this week. But they'll still need more left-handed punch. And I imagine maybe they'll look for some other things, different pieces here and there as well. Their bullpen, the back of it, one of the strongest in the league with Abreu and Hader. They have been just one of the best stories of the season. And again, I don't know that they're getting quite enough credit for what they've done because, heck, we just expect it every year from them. But this was the year, and we actually say this every year, this was the year they should have taken a step back. Another team I want to discuss, a team with a huge series coming up this week, the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have played really well. Just took 2 of 3 from the Guardians in Cleveland, 2 of 3 from the Red Sox at Fenway. And the big series I was talking about is a 4-game set against the Yankees at home when they are trailing the Yankees by only 3 games in the AL East. We've talked a lot about Tampa Bay and how well they've played. Lost 2 of 3 this weekend to the Orioles, but they've been really good. The Jays are right behind them. And the Jays have had a very interesting season because their offseason acquisitions, Santander and Hoffman, their big acquisitions, have not done all that much. Andres Jimenez, another one. But they've gotten contributions from some unexpected places. Addison Barger, certainly one of them. Ernie Clement, Nathan Lucas. These guys have done things that no one really expected. Now, I know a lot of Blue Jays fans out there saying, Ken, you hate the Blue Jays. You haven't said a nice thing about the Blue Jays in a year plus, blah, 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 blah. I don't hate the Blue Jays. I certainly don't hate Toronto, and I certainly don't hate Canada. I have had questions with the way the Blue Jays have been run by their front office. Questions that a lot of Blue Jays fans have, but I guess they don't like it when maybe this little guy with the bow tie asks those questions. That's fine. But the Blue Jays, give them credit. Springer, resurgent year at age 35. They've got their rotation pretty much in place now, much better with Scherzer back, Eric Lauer making a great contribution, and of course the 3 guys at the top, Bassett, Barrios, Gossman, they're terrific. So I kind of like where the Blue Jays are now. I'd like them even better if Santander got back and if Hoffman kind of stabilized a little bit and maybe Jimenez started hitting more. But this is a team that has been much more of a force than I expected. And remember, I don't know, in the winter, we were talking about them as kind of a team that might be sellers at the deadline, right? They had Vlad unsigned. They had Bo Bichette, who still is unsigned and is going to hit the free agent market most likely. But the Jays have kind of exceeded what a lot of people, including myself, thought they would be. And they've got this huge series against the Yankees coming up. In the middle of Canada Day celebrations, it should be a fun week in Toronto. Now, finally, before we move on, the Cleveland Guardians, and this is the other side of the coin in the American League. The Cleveland Guardians have been a huge disappointment. Now, they exceeded expectations last year, did things beyond what anyone thought they could when they made it to the American League Championship Series and, of course, lost to the New York Yankees. The Guardians did that kind of, in the words of one executive, spinning a bullpen fairy tale. That's how they did it. They spun a bullpen fairy tale, and obviously it helped them get to where they needed to go. They have had offensive issues for a while now. Offensive issues have persisted this year. Just got swept at home by the Cardinals. They're 40-42. They're 11 and a half games back in the AL Central. The Tigers obviously are running away. They've had a remarkable first half of the season. But you just wonder what's going to happen with Cleveland. They've got Chicago, Detroit, Houston, and the White Sox going into the break. Their schedule is really tough. They just have not, for whatever reason, found it offensively. Deadline sellers, yeah, they could be sellers, but they don't have much to sell. Carlos Santana, maybe. But it's just disappointing to see what has happened with the Guardians. Maybe they bring up Chase DeLauter, their number one prospect, and get some good things out of him. But it just seems that this is not the Guardians' year. All right, we've gone through as much as we can go through, at least in the first segment. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more to come.
All right, Harry's is going to get an award here, MVP in the shaving world. And AJ, if you want to equate it to things that we talk about, it's not expensive. And it's super versatile, right? The company itself, because there's other products that you can get on the site, deodorant, body wash, etc. But for your everyday shaving needs, Harry's has you covered. And you look at the pricing, you look at the quality, and you're like, wait, why was I using the old classic brand for a long time?
Listen, as somebody right now that needs a Harry's, I've just been lazy. Harry's, I have plenty of them lined up, ready to use. You can use them for more than one shave, which is huge for me. And the pricing is right. I got to go get my Harry's because my neck beard is sick. But Harry's will fix that. It'll line me up straight. It'll no bumps, no cuts. It's exactly what I need for a great price.
That's right. Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally their trial set is $10, but right now you can get it for just $6 at harrys.com/foul. That's our exclusive link, harrys.com/foul, for a $6 trial set.
Time now for the Inside Dish, the part of the show where I talk about maybe a story I've written, a trend in the game, something else entirely. But today I'm going to talk about the story that I published today about Aaron Judge. This story was 3 weeks in the making, and it has kind of an interesting backstory to it. So I wrote about this in the windup for The Athletic, I don't know, about a week ago, but I'll go into more detail here. So 3 Saturdays ago, I'm at Yankee Stadium, and we've got the Yankees Red Sox broadcast on Fox. And of course, Aaron Judge is red hot at the time, and I'm asking people questions. What is standing out to you about him? What do you think? And someone told me, this person shall remain nameless, check out how much he is swinging. That's the difference. He's swinging a lot more than he ever has. And I found this curious because great hitters get pitched so carefully that sometimes, like Juan Soto, they end up not swinging a lot, right? Intentional walks happen. Walks that aren't intentional but semi-intentional happen. They don't get a lot of good pitches to hit, and the great ones are exceedingly patient. So I started looking into this. I made some calls that week, knowing that we had the Yankees Red Sox again the next weekend from Fenway, and I could talk to Judge at Fenway, hopefully. And in the coming days or the days that led up to that game, I spoke to the Yankees hitting coach, James Rowson, and some others just about what was, to me, an interesting sort of phenomenon, that he was swinging at this high rate in virtually every possible situation. So then I talked to Judge on Saturday, and this was the day after he hit that monumental home run off Garrett Crochet at Fenway to tie the game after striking out 3 times. So I'm like, wow. All right, he had the 3 strikeouts, but that home run was kind of a legendary sort of home run, or at least at that moment, it seemed like it. I talked to Judge, and then on Sunday, prepared to write the story, and did write the story. Problem was, Judge struck out not only 3 times Friday night, but 3 times Saturday and 3 times Sunday, and the Yankees were swept by the Red Sox at Fenway, the Rafael Devers Red Sox at Fenway. And we decided at The Athletic, well, the story's written. It's where we want it to be. But if we publish it on Monday, after he just struck out 9 times in the series, after the Yankees just got swept, it might not be a good idea. And I remember Chris Kirshner, our Yankees writer, telling me, you run this on Monday, the comments are going to destroy you. And yes, people would say, this is weird timing. The guy's not hitting. What are you writing this for? So I figured, okay, no problem. It's Aaron Judge. I'll wait a couple of days. Wait a couple of days. He'll get hot again. I'll publish. Problem was, he didn't get hot again. He didn't get hot again at all for a couple of weeks. from June 14th to 28th, he hit something like 176 with a 645 OPS and only 2 homers. And I kept waiting and waiting, and it was kind of driving me nuts. And the reason it was driving me nuts is because most writers, when they write something, they want it published. They want it to get out to the world. They don't want to think, this is the biggest thing, that they've wasted their time. And it happens sometimes you lose a story for whatever reason that you can't go with, you don't have it good enough, or maybe the timing isn't right. Who knows? There are 100 reasons why you might not publish a story. But in this case, I knew I had something that I thought was interesting, something that really had not been written about as far as I know, and I wanted it to get out. So I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And finally, yesterday, Sunday, there it is. 2 home runs from Aaron Judge. One of them was early in the count, and that was one of the points of emphasis in the story, that he's swinging early in the count. And today we published the story, finally. I didn't even have to tweak it that much. It was pretty much all set. So Judge in the story explains that he is being more aggressive this year. He was surprised that I told him about the swing rates. He didn't know, at least at that point, that he had been swinging at a higher rate. Now he's just going out and playing. He's not studying the numbers necessarily as deeply as maybe we are. But he did say, hey, I'm trying to be more aggressive. I'm trying to be more aggressive because I know that I might only get 1 or 2 pitches to hit in an at bat. And I want to be sure that when that pitch comes, the one that looks good to me, that I'm going to be swinging. And again, it is almost like the anti-Juan Soto approach, right? Soto, it seems like every at bat is this masterpiece in which he runs the count to 3-2. And it's just working in his favor. And he's a maestro just kind of dictating the whole at bat. Now, Judge is dictating at bats too, but only in a different way. And I also found it curious. And I asked Judge about this because he grew up not far from San Francisco in Linden, California. Barry Bonds, when he was hot, like crazy hot, like Judge has been at various points, what happened? Intentional walks happened. And yet it was James Wood drawing the 4 intentional walks on Sunday. And Aaron Judge has drawn, I believe, only 18 all year. I might be off on that number. So that was curious to me. And Judge basically said in his humble way, I'm not Bonds. I'm not getting pitched like that. It's different. Bonds was getting 1 pitch maybe per game. I'm not in that area. So that was interesting. It was also interesting to hear the Red Sox pitching coach, Andrew Bailey, say, we attack aggression with aggression. We're not dancing around even great hitters like Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge, like all great hitters, fails more often than he succeeds. So the whole thing to me was just interesting, and I'm sitting on it week after week after week. Okay, it was only 3 weeks, but it seemed like forever. And yesterday, after he hit the 2 home runs, I was kind of very excited that finally I could get this story out there. It's out there today. I've seen some people already in the comments talking more about Barry Bonds than talking about Aaron Judge, because Bonds is mentioned in the story. And yes, I mentioned that he used performance-enhancing drugs, or was alleged to have used them. And people just can't still accept that he was a guy that has all these records, or is a guy that has all these records, when to many he was tainted. I get it. That's a fair discussion. It's not what this article was about. So anyway, the Aaron Judge story is finally out there. I am thrilled it's finally out there. Is it my best story ever? No. But when it was sitting there and sitting there and sitting there, I was just stewing, and I could not get over it. Now I'm over it. Back right after this.
Hey, this episode is sponsored by Huel, so I'm going to take a sip while Todd Father tells you about Huel. And Todd Father, you asked me, when should I drink it?
Yeah,
what did I tell you?
Really, it's the best thing for you. Before a workout, after a workout, whatever you're feeling. Like sometimes I'll just drink this just because it tastes that good. The flavor is very good. It's going to make you feel, it's going to fill you up too. Good protein, and it's very appetizing. So for you people out there who are starting to work out or have been, drink this. You're going to feel very much energized and very much full, which is a great thing.
Yeah, people that are having problems, not having enough time to eat their meals, Huel for you. Or a little post-workout protein punch, Huel for you. Start saving time and money without compromising your nutrition today with the FT offer for new customers. 15% off using the code FAL at Huel.com. 15% for new customers using FOUL at Huel.com. See our description for the terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition.
BetMGM is giving you the chance to win a prize every day during the baseball season. Step into the batter's box for BetMGM's Swing for the Fences free-to-play game. Visit the BetMGM app to access the game, and you'll score a prize if you hit a single, double, triple, or home run. Strikeout? No problem. Try again tomorrow. Gambling problem or concern? There is help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, like last week, we are taking questions from ChatBCC. That's a free chat app. Go to foulterritory.chat. It's totally free to get in and join the conversation. All right, let's start it off here with the questions. Oh, here's a good one from Jeremy Meyer. Would the A's trade Luis Severino because he's unhappy with the home mound? Now, everyone knows Severino's home road splits have been kind of crazy this year. Unfortunately for him, the road splits did not, or the road record took a hit yesterday against the Yankees. He did not pitch very well. And the question now is, okay, he's so miserable in Oakland, and he's pretty much said that, would the A's trade him? The problem here, and MLBTradeRumors.com did a really good analysis of this last week, is that he's, even with the great road numbers, not pitching all that well this season. His performance has not been that good. Poor strikeout rate, lowest ground ball rate of his career, and his overall numbers really aren't that good. And here's the big problem. He's owed more than $55 million from right now through the end of his contract, which would be in 2027. He has a player option for 27, but at this point, you would have to think he'd be exercising it. So I don't know if the A's can trade Severino, whether they want to trade Severino. That's another question, and it'll be answered in the next few weeks. All right, next question. This one comes from Delightful, who asks, are we making a big enough deal out of the Tigers this year to this point? They were kind of an afterthought this year, despite their magical 2024 campaign, and it feels like it's getting written off because of a weak American League. Delightful, fair point. And the Tigers, as an AL Central team, maybe don't get as much attention as the AL East teams or even the Astros in the West. But my goodness, they have an 11.5 game lead in the Central. They're tied with the Dodgers for the best record in baseball, 53-32. They're third in the majors in ERA, fifth in runs per game. Maybe they're not getting enough attention, but they should be. They're playing at an extremely high level. Skubal is a blast to watch every fifth or sixth day, and their offense has been better than expected. So I would tend to agree. They're not getting enough credit. This isn't the 35-5 run in 1984, but it's been pretty darn good. All right, next question. This one comes from Robbie Hyde, who asks, is it time for the Red Sox to move on from Walker Buehler? I was struck after that game yesterday in which Walker Buehler struggled again, his ERA rising to 6.45, when he said, I think I'm fighting for my spot in the game honestly. That was as straightforward and as honest a remark as you'll ever hear from a player. Here's a guy with 4 quality starts out of 14. A guy the Red Sox paid more than $21 million for 1 year. And yes, he is struggling. He is struggling like crazy. Cora was asked yesterday, Alex Cora, if his spot in the rotation was in jeopardy. And Cora basically said, not right now. Managers never talk about a pitcher losing his spot in the rotation right after a game. That never happens. But at some point, yes, the Red Sox might need to do something. So we're going to see with Walker Buehler. Right now, the Red Sox, they've had a number of issues surface in recent weeks. One of them is their starting rotation. They've had injuries too. Hunter Dobbins got hurt. He was pitching well. Cutter Crawford still out. And Tanner Houck on his rehab assignment has not been good. So a myriad of issues facing the Boston Red Sox right now. And finally, question from Dustin Mounts, who asked, is O'Neal Cruz really available? Well, I wrote last week that the only untouchables with the Pirates were Paul Skeens and Andrew McCutchen. So immediately a lot of people drew the rightful conclusion, whoa, O'Neal Cruz is in play. He would be difficult to get, I would imagine, but his OPS before his 2 home runs yesterday was 714. Now it's up to 740, but it's still down from his 773 OPS last year. He's entering arbitration this winter, so he has 3 years of club control remaining. He's going to get more expensive. I get it. But at the same time, O'Neal Cruz is still part of the Pirates' future, I would think. And for that reason, I don't expect him to be traded before the deadline. And with that, we will say goodbye for this week. Stay with us, and we'll be back next week as well.